Hi everybody, I'm Nikki from nikkishealingkitchen.com, and today I'm looking at all the health coaches, nutritionists, cookbook authors, and anybody who develops recipes for their small business. Because in this video, I'm going to share with you some common recipe writing pitfalls and how to avoid them. Now, writing precise, polished recipes is really important for any business, even if you're not a top chef or anything like that, because if you want your client or your reader to follow your recipes or to take your advice, you want to make sure that you're always putting your best foot forward in everything that you present. So obviously that includes your recipes as well. And I've noticed from my own work, as well as from editing and testing other clients' work, is that sometimes we fall into these recipe writing traps where we make these little small mistakes that can really confuse your reader. So today we're going to get clear on some simple steps that you can take to make sure that all of your work looks as perfect and polished as you do. Okay, so the first common pitfall that I see are measurements that aren't in their simplest form. So when writing a recipe, you always want to make sure that your measurements are in the lowest common denominator. So to give you an example, 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. So it's much easier for your client or for your reader to measure something 1 time than it is for them to measure it 3 times. Another example is 4 tablespoons equals a 1/4 cup. Again, much easier to measure something 1 time using a 1/4 cup than it is to measure something 4 times using 4 tablespoons. So another common pitfall is items that are listed in your ingredients but are not accounted for in your directions. So let's just say, for example, you listed a 1/4 cup of apples in your ingredient list, but they're nowhere to be found in your directions. So now at the end of creating this recipe, your reader or your client is left with a 1/4 cup of apples and has no idea what they're supposed to do with them. Now, I find this mistake most often with things like salads and soups, because maybe you're doing there's a whole lot of ingredients to add at once, like add the lettuce, add the cucumbers, add the tomatoes, and you might skip over the apples by mistake. It happens, I've done it too. So what I've started to do is always cross-reference your ingredient list with your directions. So start from the top of your ingredients list, follow it all the way down, and make sure that everything you list in your ingredients is counted for in your instructions. Now, common pitfall number 3 is the exact opposite of common pitfall number 2. So sometimes you're reading through the directions and you'll come across an ingredient that wasn't in the ingredients list. So the directions might say something like, add your stock. And you look through the ingredients list and think, it doesn't say anything about stock. You don't know how much, what type of stock. It could be really confusing. So just like you want to cross-reference your ingredients with the directions, you then want to look through your directions and make sure that everything you talk about in your directions is accounted for in your ingredients list. So pitfall number 4 is recipe instructions that read like paragraphs. You always want to make sure that you space out your instructions either with bullet points or, my personal favorite, a numerical list. Because let's just say I'm trying to make your recipe and I'm in the middle of chopping peppers at the stove and I don't remember what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't want to have to go back to the recipe and try to find my place through a long stream of consciousness, so to speak. I want to be able to quickly know, okay, yep, I'm on step number 4, so it's easy to go back and see exactly what I'm supposed to be doing in step number 4. And last but not least, common pitfall number 5 are recipes that don't include photos. You always want to make sure that you have a picture to go along with your recipe, and here's why. It gives a visual example of what the end result is supposed to look like. It also may help your reader with portion size, may help them see how big or small they're supposed to cut the carrots, maybe give them some garnishing ideas. It's really important that you give them this added bit of information. Now, I know this was difficult for me because I thought, I'm already an editor, I'm already a chef, I'm a health coach, now I have to become a photographer on top of everything else. But the answer to that is no, you do not have to become Annie Leibovitz overnight. Just start by using your smartphone, start by using Instagram, start by using any point-and-shoot camera, and just start taking pictures. And trust me, over time they're going to improve, they're going to look beautiful, and they're really going to help your reader get through the recipe. if you like this video and you enjoyed the top tips, come on over to nickishealingkitchen.com, click on Recipe Testing and Perfecting, and learn more about the ways that I can help you with your next big project or your next big cookbook. I want to make sure that everything you put out there is absolutely perfect so your clients and readers can reap the most rewards and the biggest benefits from your awesome services. So come on over and find me. Let's chat soon. Thanks so much. Bye.